All right. Hello, hello. It's 10 a.m. in San Francisco, 6 p.m. in Barcelona and in Berlin. And welcome to Hack Together Season 2, Episode 1. This is our new season, and I'm very happy to kickstart with Harshil. Harshil, how are you?
I'm good. Thank you for having me. I am really excited to be a part of this.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks for joining us. And I mentioned it's 6 p.m. in Berlin because right now this is the unexceptional time of the year where the US and Europe, we only have 8 hours difference because we don't change time at the same on the
Yeah.
same date. So usually we have 9 hours difference. Today we only have eight, so it's quite exciting. Thank you all for joining. Let us know if you're here in the comments. I'm very excited to know where you're joining us from. We have an amazing things to hack together today, and I'm very happy to have Harshil here to show us how we can do this. We're gonna hack something around n8n, and if you don't know about n8n, it's something that's revolutioning. I will say what's going on right now into the workflow space, the no-code space, and it's all open source. Is that right?
Yep. So n8n is an extendable workflow automation tool. So with a fair code distribution model, which means that the source code is gonna be available for everyone, and people can self-host n8n. And the best part I love about n8n is it gives you the flexibility to write your own custom functions, logics, and apps, so you can truly extend the platform and adapt it to the way you want.
Yeah, and so that's a bit different compared to other tools that you have on the market. Like you don't have to just blindly trust them to what they do with your data or rely on their own availabilities and things like this. You get to manage your own instances if you want, but you also have a cloud solution, right?
Yeah. So n8n, like you can run n8n in a lot of different ways. So the first is to try it out via the npm package by simply running npx n8n, and it will start up your n8n command, your n8n instance. So let me quickly come over here. So you can now see we also have now a desktop app. So you can download the desktop app, try it out to build your automation workflows. And I would say this is the best way to try out n8n if you are not if you're not someone with a lot of technical knowledge. Apart from that, you can self-host n8n on your own servers. We recommend people to use Docker, but a lot of our users also love npm, and they use pm2 to to host n8n via npm. And there's always n8n cloud. So if you don't want to if you're afraid that you might mess up your self-hosted instance, like I have been there, I did kind of messed up my instance. You can always sign up for n8n cloud, and this is a managed service provided by us.
Yeah, and I've seen also a solution when I first give it a try. I'm this type of developer that doesn't want to mess with servers, Dockers, and all the things.
Yeah.
There was an easy script, like one-click deploy to Heroku as well. I remember.
Yeah, so that was something that a community member created, and yeah, n8n, this is another thing I love about n8n is the community. So almost a lot of these nodes, a lot of the contributions come from the community, and the desktop app that we released today is also an inspiration from the community, because the community members, they wanted a more easier way to use n8n, and that's why we created a desktop app for them.
Well, that's very cool. So if you're interested by automating things in your company, for your small business, this is a right solution for this. You can build workflows as complex as you want, right? They're like
Yeah.
branches connected to different services, all this type of stuff, right?
Yeah, exactly. So with n8n, you can have a workflow with more than 100 apps or nodes, as we call it, and they would still, work flawlessly as you wanted.
That's cool. So there is already a Typeform node, and we see already a lot of people using it. We have dozens of installs every month around it. The community is growing. People are doing a lot of cool workflows with this, but there is no VideoAsk node.
Yep, there isn't.
And so this is what we're gonna solve today. Thanks to your platform for being open, thanks to the extensibility of the platform, we're gonna be able to create our own node for VideoAsk. And this is what we hope to showcase today with all of you here. How that's possible, and how we can make this extensible, and also how we can open source it. So if you want, you can contribute to that node and make it better.
Wonderful. Let's do it.
All right. So you're going to be my guide into this, because I have a really basic knowledge of n8n, but you're going to tell me all the different steps.
Cool.
So, and then if you're in the comments, let us know where you are. If you know n8n, if you have any questions, let us know. We'll be here. Yeah. So let me share my screen right now. So one thing that I did before we got started, I downloaded n8n. So I forked it on my repo, on my GitHub account, and I downloaded the fork, and now I have it running locally on my machine. And I even created a branch that I code node VideoAsk. So whenever is the time to submit this to the main project, it'll be easier to figure out what is the mess that I've built, right? So what do I do from now? What are the type of nodes that I can create? What do we need to do?
Yeah. So we have essentially two different kind of nodes. The first is a regular node. So this node would perform any kind of operations that we want for that particular service. So in example, for VideoAsk, let's just say we want to get all the forms that we have created on VideoAsk. So we would use the regular node to do that. But there is a trigger node as well. So let's just say someone submits a response to that form, and we want to automate that workflow. We want to, maybe send them a reply back based on their feedback or stuff like that. For that, we have a trigger node. So the trigger node would automatically start the workflow whenever an event happens on VideoAsk.
That's cool. So it's very convenient, because on VideoAsk, and let me show VideoAsk if you haven't seen what it is. So VideoAsk is our solution for video interactions with your customers. So if you want to have a way to collect feedback, if you want to have people that apply for jobs, if you doing interviews, you can do this via video. And instead of interacting via text, I ask you a question, you answer me back via video. And the cool thing that we have is we're supporting webhooks. So when you create a form, you can connect it with, and I should show my screen here, at the stream here. When you create a form, you can connect it to webhooks. And we support a bunch of different events on this webhook. So whenever something happens on VideoAsk, we'll be able to send the details of it to, in this case, n8n, right? And so we want to be the start of a workflow, and this is why we're going to create a trigger node.
Right. Another quick thing to add over here is, if you don't want to create a node, and if you just want to try it out, you can use the native webhook node in n8n, paste in the URL in here, and then just try it out before you start creating nodes.
Got it. So now that I have it locally, maybe that's the first thing we should do. We should run it and show how it looks like, right?
Yeah.
So what is the right command here?
So that would be npm run start. I am assuming you have already built the project.
I think so. Yes, I believe so. All right. And so if I click O, I should open it in my browser. And this is what we have here. If I put everything on the same window, it's going to be better. Yes, this is what we have here. So this is an empty workflow, right?
Yeah, so this is an empty workflow canvas. And you can see that there is a start node by default. So that would be the first place to start the workflow if you are not using a trigger node.
Okay, and so if I wanted to do that right now, I see here, this is all the different nodes you have into the libraries of Node, right? And this is where we see the Typeform one, that's a trigger. You mentioned there's one by default for webhooks. and that we could use, but it's better if it's already integrated with our solution.
Yeah.
All right, so let's create our new node. So I guess now one thing I could do would be opening the code and see how it looks like inside this, right? So this is the project, the npm project, and yeah, tell me how I should go around this and find all different things.
So there are a lot of directories in the main repo, but the one we are interested today is the packages directory, because this is where all the nodes live. So it's under packages and then node base. So if you open that, you can see that there is now a separate directory for credentials and a separate directory for nodes. So basically, the nodes directory would contain the code for the node, and the credentials would contain the code for connecting it to a credentials, connecting to the service via credentials.
Yes, because one thing that we're going to try to do is try to make it self-serve, so you can authorize it to your VideoAsk account, and we'll create the webhook for you, so you don't have to do any manual operation. But I think for now, we're just going to keep it manual, and then eventually, if we get to the next stage, we'll make it using credentials.
Perfect. So the first thing we would want to do is create a folder for VideoAsk.
All right, VideoAsk. Okay.
And then we'll create a TypeScript file, and we'll call it VideoAsk trigger.node.ts.
Trigger.node.ts. Okay.
Perfect. And now what we want to do is we want to use the types that we already have generated for you. So for that, like this is what I generally do. I would go to an existing webhook node. So for example, the Typeform node.
Let's do this. Yeah. Typeform.
And yeah, just open this code, and yeah, just copy it, paste it in here, and then we'll start to remove stuff and try to understand what is happening.
And coding is easy if you just copy paste, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So what do we have here?
All right. So the first thing we need is, if you see, there are a lot of types and a lot of things that we generally won't need to get started. So I would let me quickly change my screen so that I can see this.
Okay. I think there's something about generic functions, and it's probably going to look at some files that we don't have yet. So I'll probably comment this. The whole thing about credentials that I see here, probably don't need it yet. Right. And then properties, I don't know what it does yet, so I'm going to get rid of it as well.
So you are already becoming an expert with this.
No, like I see stuff like I don't know what it does. Methods, webhook methods, webhook here. There's a webhook function. What I can do as well is like here, as it says Typeform. I imagine I will have to change this to VideoAsk.
Perfect. Now the few imports that we would need would be the iHook functions and the iWebhook functions.
Yes.
So we already have them. That's perfect. Yep. And the other thing we would need is the data object, which we have. That's good. The node type description. All right. So I think we already have all the imports that we need. So we can start taking a look at the code. All right.
So yeah, I've just changed the name, the display name, and the name. I think here there might be an icon. If I remember, I imagine that the icon will be, if we look here, that will be like this thing that is popping up here.
Yeah.
So I will call this VideoAsk for now. I will have to find out where I put that thing. And we're gonna do VideoAsk form submission. Call that VideoAsk. Okay, so this is more like subtitles, description. This is the things that are going to show up in the listing, right?
Yeah. So what we did right now is we are just kind of telling n8n these are all the things that we want to show. So the display name would be shown on the node. The name which we added over here will be used internally by n8n. The icon again is going to be the icon of the node which gets rendered out. And what else is important? Yeah, the subtitle would be kind of a small note which will be displayed under the node. The description is showed again in the node panel. So yeah, that's all what we did.
Okay. So next, I can do the icon. I'm looking for the icon for VideoAsk. I had it somewhere. It has to be a PNG, right? It's better PNG or SVG.
Yeah, we recommend SVG.
I don't know if I have an SVG, so I'll try this with a. Where is it? Reveal in Finder. Up. All right. I will do PNG for now, and then I'll change it to
Perfect.
Okay. So now this has an icon, subtitle, blah, blah, blah. Credentials, we say we don't need it now. This is what's going to be used for when you like OAuth into the platform and how you do the OAuth stuff. What about the webhooks array? What is it?
So with the webhooks, we are telling it what kind of method it should have. So generally with webhooks, we often all the webhooks use the post method. So whenever a form is submitted, VideoAsk will send a post request to the webhook. So we are telling it to listen to the post method, and the path will be automatically generated by n8n. And the response mode is basically sending back a response, because oftentimes these services, they expect back a response. So we are just sending them an on received response.
Got it. So we have, as I was showing here, we have different type of events. So we support differently than Typeform. Typeform only has one type of event, which is a form submitted. For VideoAsk, we have a bunch of different things. So you say that I can support all those different events with the same trigger node, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And I can let the user pick.
Yeah. So we can have a drop down where the user can then select what they want to do with it, which events they want to listen to, and then they can just activate the workflow.
And so this is what I would do in the webhook array.
No. So this would again go in the properties.
Okay.
So the webhook is going to remain the same as it is. And if you scroll down a bit, yeah, here is the properties.
All right, so properties. Let's uncomment this. All right. So what do I have?
Now over here, we are defining what fields should be displayed with the node. Since we are not using authentication right now, we can comment the authentication body.
Okay.
Form ID. Yeah, we can do the form ID as well.
We keep it or we remove it? We can remove it for now because we can just hard code it. Okay. And simplify answers. Yeah, that's something that was very specific to Typeform. So yeah, this is like for the setting of the node, right?
Yeah. And this is where we will be defining the event.
All right, so we can call this event type. Okay, and that's gonna be event type, something like this.
Yeah, and over here, instead of Boolean, this is gonna be options.
Okay.
And we can just, by default, it can be an empty string, because we don't want force people to use something by default.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah, and then options will be an array.
Okay.
Yeah. Now this will be basically an array of objects which would contain the name of that event and also the value of that event.
So we have form response.
Yeah. And in the value, I would use the value that which VideoAsk needs.
We have form response transcribed. I think we can start with those two types. And so the difference here is form response is when the response is submitted, and form response transcribe usually happens a couple of seconds after, is when we have transcribed the answer and we give you the actual text that we have understood from the video. So they happen one after the other.
That's amazing. How many languages a video the transcribe supports?
I think we're about 10 or 15 languages now.
Wow.
So yeah, it works in a lot of different things. It's not perfect because it's a
Yeah.
computer that understands it. If you try to transcribe my French accent when I'm speaking English, it doesn't work 100% of the time. But this is where it gets funny, and this is where I promise we may have some surprises when we test this flow.
Definitely.
And so yeah, we can give here webhook. Listen to different type of events on VideoAsk. Okay, so we have this. Do we want to look? Yeah, now that we have the base stuff, do you want to? Can we just? There are some errors. So maybe we.
Yeah.
Should we get rid of everything that's in here?
Yeah, let's do that.
So tell us about this webhook function. What does it do?
So now what we want to do is we want to first of all check if the webhook is already registered on VideoAsk or not, and if it's not registered, we create the webhook. If once the webhook is created, then the node can listen to the changes. And again, we don't want to keep the webhook alive on VideoAsk unless and until someone specifies that. So this can be by activating the workflow or triggering the workflow manually. So we also have another method for that, which would simply delete the webhook if the user inactivates the workflow or the execution stops.
So this webhook function is actually what's going to be run when we receive the webhook.
Yeah.
This is where we're going to put the logic of like extracting the data, formatting it in some ways. If we
Yeah,
want,
exactly.
Right? So same thing here. We have webhook methods. What do we do with it for now? Do we need it?
Yeah, we can simply comment it out for now.
Yeah. This is going to be used for the setup, right?
Yeah.
All right. So what does it complain about? It's still red. What is it? Red. Methods. Methods here.
Yeah. We don't need methods over here, so we can just remove them.
All right. See, easy. You can't. There's a warning. You comment it. There's no more warning. All right. So now we have created the base of our node. I want to see it live. I want to see it in the list of nodes. What do I do now?
First of all, we would need to add this to the package in the package.json file. Okay. So let's do that first.
Which package.json file?
Yeah.
This.
Yeah.
Okay. And how convenient. I'm already at the right place in the alphabet. So it was called VideoAsk. I forgot if I put capital.
And we had it in the lowercase, if I'm not wrong. Yeah.
Yeah, so this was lowercase, and then this was
Yeah, this should be camel case.
Yes. VideoAsk trigger. Okay. He did it. And so VideoAsk trigger.
Video trigger. We also want to capitalize the V.
Yeah, okay. This was my thing. Okay. All right, VideoAsk trigger.node.js. Okay, I saved that.
All right, now let's build the project and see. So we would want to run the command npm run build.
Okay.
Now this might take a while because it is going to build everything from the bottom up. So wonderful.
What does it say? Oh, fibers. Okay, I think I know why. I know why. It's
Okay, I think it was just an error, right? I mean, was it a warning or was it an error?
No, I think my issue is that I'm on notes
16.
v16.
Yes. That's a good thing. So one thing that's important to know is currently n8n runs on version 14. So you would have to use a version 14 if you want to build nodes for n8n.
What was the yeah? So it's like nvm use, and so what I'm doing now is changing the version of my local stuff. Okay, so now I can do npm run build, and we shouldn't see this error anymore. See. So I see stuff about the theme. I see stuff about the font. Like it seems like you can customize a lot of things here, huh?
Yeah, and we are also working on the design library now. So if we can go to the repo of n8n, you can see there is another a directory in there which is design system. I don't exactly remember the name, but yeah.
Oh, obviously anything doesn't work.
It's n8n-io.
Yes. So anything.
Yeah, in the main repo, n8n. And if you open packages, there is
Yes.
now a design system.
So if you wanted, you can skin it to make it look like your branding, your company stuff. Oh, that's really cool.
But if you do that, make sure you reach out to our team first for the licensing, and yeah, so that you are not breaking any licensing terms there.
Okay. So all right, looks like the build. While we were talking, the build work, and so now we can try that. What do we need to do to run it again?
So now you can simply run npm run start, but this would start kind of in the production server. What we want to do is we want to run npm run dev because we are still building this node.
Okay. And would that be something that watch for changes, so it will just automatically?
Yeah, exactly. So what this will do is this will watch for changes, but it will not watch for changes that we made on the UI part. So let's just say we change the name or we add new properties. At that time, we will have to start the build process again. But my colleague showed me a really nice trick to avoid that process is to run two different commands on two different terminals.
Well, I can do that. So now, was it on the same URL again?
No, it's gonna be on 8080 if I'm not wrong.
8080. It's also my bad. I'm looking for it. I was failed to compile. So let me do that again. So we said npm run dev. Okay, I like that better. No? Yeah, I don't need to understand everything that it's doing now. That is running. Let us know in the comments. Which type of nodes you wanna create, and we can ask Harshil. I'm sure there's some that you want that might be already there.
Yeah, and yeah, if someone is looking to create a node, we also have a step-by-step tutorial and a documentation. So you can just follow that and create your own node.
Yeah, we're going a bit fast here. Okay, perfect. We got this. All right. Now I want to go here, and if I search for, look at this.
Perfect.
All right, so what
And
happens
see,
here?
we also have the event as well.
So this is what we had for the, this is what we had in, I forgot the name of the thing. What was it called? What was it called?
The properties?
The properties, exactly.
Yeah.
So that's for the setup. Okay. Perfect. And it gives me a URL already.
Yeah, it also gives you an URL. So if you want to try it out again with just the URL, you can use that.
I'm curious, if I call this now, will I see an event coming through?
No, because if you see, it's a localhost URL.
Mm-hmm.
So to build this, you will have to run a command that is to basically start the tunnel.
Okay. Do we want to do that now so we see what it looks like, or do we want to create the functions and?
We would want to create the function first because we still don't have the functions. If we do anything on VideoAsk, it's still not going to trigger.
Okay, so let's go back here and do the next step then. All right, so we need to put some logic over here.
Yeah. All right. So as I mentioned earlier, we want to first, right, basically we want to do three things over here. We want to first check if it already exists, if the webhook already exists. If it does not, we just simply want to create it. So what we are going to do is we are going to create three functions and we are going to call them check exist. And let's see, what was the other one?
That's what we call here the webhook method, right?
Yeah.
Create and delete. So check exists. We'll do the check exists first. All right, so check exists. We want to know if there is already a webhook associated to this form, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So we're getting, walk us through this. Tell us what.
Sure. So what n8n does is it basically, whenever it creates a webhook, it stores the information of the webhook in the database. So what we are doing is we are referencing that in the line 166, and we are also getting the webhook URL on line 167.
So we want to get it from the from the configuration we just built, right?
Yeah, exactly. And then what we are doing is I'm just going to skip a couple of lines for now because those are very specific to Typeform over here.
Okay.
But if we okay, so in Typeform we basically check it against the form ID. But in general, if we want to do, what we would do is we would check it against the webhook ID that we are getting from webhook data and then the webhook URL.
So we don't need to call the VideoAsk API to check if the webhook is already.
We need to do that.
Okay. So I see two things here. I see default, and I imagine this is what the default event we had before. How do we make this dynamic so we get it from all the other events that we have?
So for that, what we can do is we can have a generic file which would contain the API request function, which we will then use to call in over here to make it more generic.
All right. So now we need to make some functions that are going to call the VideoAsk API just for ourselves, not for the node, but to check things.
Yeah, exactly.
And so I think this is what I've seen here that was called generic function, right? So let's do this. We're going to kill it generic functions.ts. And I'm going to check how that was built. I'm just going to get the whole thing here. BPDB interface. I don't think we need that yet. But we're going to need this thing that makes an API request. And so API request, la la la. In this case, that's going to be api.videoask.com. I was going to ask for authentication right now. Yeah, we might need this sooner than we thought.
Yeah. We can either right now just pass on the authentication, the access token for authentication, or we can start creating the authentication first and then move forward, whichever way you want.
Yeah. Yeah, I was wondering if we can. Do we need to do the check? Like, do we need to do the check that it exists?
Yeah, we need to, because we don't want to keep on adding the webhook URLs. Otherwise, what would happen is the VideoAsk would make a call to all these webhook URLs, and some of them might not be active.
Okay. Well, I guess, yeah, we probably need. So either yeah. So what if we here in the properties, could we just add something about the API key?
Yeah, we can add a simple parameter over there. So it can be, again, this can be a text property. We can call it. The type can be text.
Okay. Text. Name.
No, I think it's called string instead of text. Yeah.
Okay. Here we want name equal VideoAsk API key. What is it complaining about?
Options. Display name. I find
Default. Default. It's an empty string.
And we want this as a required field. So we would do required equals required set to true.
Okay. All right. So now in the settings, here we'll have something that will ask for your API key.
Yeah.
And so we can use this to make a call to the VideoAsk API and see if there is an existing webhook.
Yeah. So what we can do is we can simply write the code in here if we don't want to, work with a generic file for now. Make the calls in here itself, and later on maybe we can then, to make it more generic, we can then move it to the generic file.
Yeah. As well. Let me check on our VideoAsk documentation how we check that a webhook exists. So developers at webhook.this, retrieve webhook, retrieve single webhook. So very similar API than what we have for Typeforms. So form ID, we have it. Endpoint. Okay, perfect. And so here we can just make a fetch, right?
Yeah. We don't. So the form ID that you see, it's getting from the node parameter.
Yes.
But we don't have a parameter that is called form ID.
Well, let's add another one. And I'll just uncomment this one. And I'll get rid of this right now because we're going to hard code this. Okay, perfect. And so we get form ID. We're going to call this. Right here, there's a tag, and it's our way to namespace video webhooks. So we can say that it will always be the n8 tag, or do you have like a webhook ID that we can put here?
Yeah, so n8n would generate that automatically and put it there. So what we can do is we can simply query for all the webhooks that are already registered for it, check against that if it's existing webhook in n8n, and then based on that we move forward.
Oh, I see. It's exactly what's going on here. Yes. Yeah. It's exactly what's happening here. So instead of calling the API to search for a specific webhook, it calls the API to look for all the webhooks and do this. Okay, so let's do this. So we're gonna fetch on http://videoask.com and then slash this endpoint. What does it complain about? Oh, doesn't know about fetch.
Yeah, so we would have to use the default. The default method that we have created in there. So that would be this.helpers.request, and then we'll pass on the options to that.
Request. Okay. So now how do I pass? Yeah. How do I pass authentication? Like headers?
Okay, so what I would do is I would create a options object which will contain all this information, and then simply pass it on into this.
All right. So that was like URL. That would be this headers. That's how it's supposed to be?
Yeah.
Hop. And so this is going to be better. And now we need to get the API key. And if I look at here, it's going to be this dot get node parameter, and we're going to put API key. Is that right?
Yeah.
Should I load it before? Yeah, we can do that.
Yeah, that's a good idea. And we can also just since it's TypeScript, it's good to always tell what type it is.
Yes. And we call that VideoAsk API key. Here, and here. No, wrong copy paste. Okay, and so this is going to make a call to, and we
will have to complete the whole endpoint. Okay. Oh, sorry. I was looking at the above one. Yeah, 179.
Yeah.
We already have done that.
And so this, I forgot how it's going to look like, but we can imagine it's going to render similarly. Yeah, that's normal. Okay. If I do a console here, where is it going to be shown?
It's going to be shown in the terminal.
Okay, perfect. So we can make sure that this API call works. All right. Yeah, because here we don't have an example of what's going to be the payload for it. Okay. And then so hopefully this gives us the list of webhooks. Turn dark. So hopefully this is going to give us the list of webhooks that we have for this form, and then we can check if there's one that is matching our stuff, and if there is, then we'll find it.
Let's see.
Okay.
Let's do it.
With that complaint, yeah, let's get rid of this generic file for now. We don't need this. Okay. All right, so now, I don't have to run anything. It has reloaded.
We'll have to run it again. We'll have to build it again because we made changes to the UI. We added 2 more parameters.
All right, so if you're joining us right now, what are we doing? We are building a node for n8n, which is a workflow solution, and we're building a VideoAsk node, so you can start a workflow in n8n from a VideoAsk action, right? So someone answering your VideoAsk, someone, doing stuff with it. So I think that went well. npm run dev. And so right now we're just making functions to check that everything went okay, and then we're not gonna overwrite on the existing stuff, right?
Right.
All right. So if we refresh this, we have the VideoAsk trigger. And you changed. Oh man.
We had form as
An option.
option. Ooh. We have to change it to string, and we'll have to build it again. So let's do this. Let me quickly share a command that we can use. That's npm run -- parallel watch.
Parallel watch.
Yeah. There's a space between parallel and watch.
Okay.
Yeah. So you can now simply remove build from there, and then we can do npm runs. So this will build the project for us, and it will keep an eye on all the changes. And what we can do in another terminal, we can run the command npm run start.
Start.
Yeah.
All right. See, this is where you need an expert. You know all the tricks. So it means this will build on its own every time there is a change.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. All right, so we just changed the URL for this. Now it's on 5678. All right. We go back here. VideoAsk. Yes. Form, even type. Perfect. So, did I have a VideoAsk? I will create a new VideoAsk here, and we're gonna call it. No, I will use this one for Q&A. But one thing that I did here yesterday, I don't want this to be. I will just delete this. And then we can make.
Ooh, I can see you again.
Yeah. All right. It's going to be a simple VideoAsk. Hey, thanks for watching this stream. Leave your questions below. All right. Voilà,
This is amazing.
Beam. And so that's our VideoAsk. We now have a step, and then we can decide how people are going to answer this, and we'll keep it open-ended for now. And so what we need is this form ID. Okay. So this is the form ID, and I'm going to leave this somewhere so I can copy paste it when I need it. And we're going to need the API key, right?
Right.
And so for my API key, I'm closing this. And I'm going here on API, and I'm going to copy this. And yeah, it's okay. You can copy it if you want. It's only valid for 5 minutes, so good luck. And now that I have done this, I guess, yeah. When do I know it's going to check the exist? When is it going to call the check exist?
I think we made a small mistake over here. Now, if you remember earlier, I talked about starting n8n with tunnel. Right. So all we have to do is we have to just stop the server and run it with the tunnel command. So I'm just quickly sharing it in the private chat with you.
Yep. Okay. So yeah, because the issue is right now this is on localhost, and obviously from VideoAsk I can't reach out to localhost.
Okay, so now we can come to n8n again.
I come from this URL, right?
No, so this is the tunnel URL, so we can still access it via localhost. maybe just cancel this for now. Let me show you one of my hacks. No, just click on cancel. Yeah. What I'll do is I'll click on the node and copy that. So you can do Control C.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh.
Now I can refresh it.
refresh the whole thing.
Yeah. Refresh the whole thing.
Okay.
Because we didn't save the workflow, right? Now you can just simply paste it over here.
Oh. Oh wow. Okay. There it has. Yeah, and everything is in here. Okay.
Everything is in here, right? And if you click on now the webhook URLs, you will see now
Yes.
it's the URL.
Perfect. But now, where did it call our check exist?
So it will be called when we execute the node.
Okay.
So for that, first we'll have to save the workflow so that n8n registered that URL. So you save this, yeah. And now if you open the node and if you click on execute, item is not iterable. That's fine. Maybe if we just check the console.
Error response. Undefine. Why?
We are extracting items from there.
Okay,
Right,
so maybe it's
destructuring.
not called
Yeah.
items. So we do something simple. We're gonna call this directly to know what's the format of this API endpoint. So hop, api.voask.com/form/the form ID that we had here /no/webhook. And then we have authorization bearer. And we'll copy this. Okay, so it's not called item, it's called results. Results. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to create one for as a fake one to know the shape of the object. No, that was not the right place. Here, connect, webhooks, add a webhook. I'm going to be here on yes. Okay, and now if I call this here, this endpoint again, I'll get created at event type form ID. Oh,
Perfect.
and oh, it's because it's too big. And URL. Okay, so here we want to check different things. We want to check form ID. Is it form ID underscore ID? Perfect. Okay. Item URL. Is it called URL? Okay, perfect. Webhook URL, and then webhook data.id. Okay. And then the tag. Okay. So what we're gonna do here is we're gonna get all the webhooks from this form on VideoAsk, iterate over this, find if there is one that has the same form ID as the one we have set up for this node, and also the same URL, so if it's pointing in the same place. And if it does, we're going to store on webhook data. So this is some data for this node that has a webhook ID. We're going to store whatever tag has been associated.
Yeah.
And the tag is something that we generate manually.
Yeah.
I mean, manually, automatically.
Automatically, yeah.
On VideoAsk. Okay. And I think so for now, this should work. I just made this change, so it should have updated on its own, right?
Yeah.
And so I can go here and execute it, right? No. Do I have to refresh? Refresh. 401.
401.
Oh, maybe now you see, maybe this is the CPI. I told you it lasts for 5 minutes. This is why we'll need to implement later on the authorization stuff. Yes, the API code changed. The API key changed. Where am I here? I will change this. I will do execute. Really? Really?
Do we want to see what exactly are we passing in the API key?
Authorization bearer. Oh, are we passing? Yeah, we don't pass the. That's an old one. Okay, now. Items is not iterable. Oh, that should have been.
That should have been fixed.
Did it, right? Uh, yeah, it should have run on its own, right? We didn't.
Yeah, it should have run on its own.
We don't need to rebuild or anything, right?
Yeah.
All right, so let's try this again. We refresh
Yeah.
here, localhost. We go in the setup. We get the latest API key from here. Okay, and we execute. Yeah, oops. Yeah, doesn't like it. So
Let's just run. Okay. Yeah.
we run everything.
And we want to run the command npm run start again.
But that's gonna give me another tunnel. Huh?
Yeah, it's going to generate another tunnel for you.
Okay. No, it's okay.
Now we refresh.
We refresh.
Result is not iterable.
Excuse me? A result is an array. Oh, damn it. Oh, it gives me undefined, so maybe it didn't catch it from this. Yeah, let's find what is this. Results, console log results. We don't need to refresh anything.
Yeah, that's an expected behavior.
Looks like it doesn't see my changes, so it looks like I need to reload every time. Rebuild.
You will have to refresh, I think, the instance.
This is okay.
And it's gonna still give us the error that result is not iterable, I think, because now we are not destructuring it.
Yeah, but just console
Okay.
this. So I want to see what is the row stuff we get from the. Yes, okay, so this is fine. Yeah, but you see, we don't get. It says undefined. We don't get anything from this call. Are we doing everything the way we should be doing it? So let's make sure that we get the right endpoint, and then that we get the right API key. All right. So I got this. Yeah, see, it doesn't get the changes that I make. All right, so how we run this? How we run
This is interesting. Right.
Okay. Refresh. Make sure we have the latest API key.
What I think is it's making the request because we got a 401 earlier as well. So somehow the request is being made, but the way it's getting written is not working correctly. Right. So now this is listening for the webhook call.
We got it. We got it. It's here.
Ah, perfect. Yeah, but if we go again to n8n, you will see it's still waiting for the webhook call.
Yeah.
So unless we make a submission, it's gonna continue for 120 seconds and then stop the execution.
So, oh, do we have to do a JSON part on this? No, on the result of this.
What we can do is we can since it's an object, we can define it uh, as IData objects. We can just give it a type.
Okay, because otherwise I was gonna do results from data
Mm-hmm.
and do like this.
Let's try that.
Right. So the issue is like I have to rewrite everything. Oh. Oh. All right, so our issue right now is that when we're making the call to retrieve all the webhooks from the VideoAsk, there was the way the data was rendered, we couldn't iterate on it properly. So now let's try that again. Code. All right.
Perfect.
So we should be here. Results. Perfect.
And now that is why we don't get an error.
And yeah, so why this keeps loading?
So it is waiting for a response from VideoAsk. So unless we send back a response, it is gonna wait for that incoming call for at least 120 seconds since it's in a test environment right now.
What is the next call we have to do? Because now that we have received all the different webhooks,
Mhm.
that we're going through this function check exists should return true or false, right?
Yeah,
And so this is where it's going to call the create afterwards.
yeah, exactly. And that's
Okay.
what it's gonna do.
So now we need to check about the create. Okay, so create webhook ID, TDD, perfect. We'll do something very similar to this. Let's check the documentation on how you create a webhook. Event type. We can. That's interesting. Do you support on the setup here? Do you support selecting multiple?
Yeah, we do. For that, the type for that property would be different.
Okay, so let's do that because it looks like we do support this. What would that be?
It should be collection.
Collection. So now we check if it already exists. Now we're going to create if it doesn't exist. And so we looked here. We need the URL and the event types. We don't need this. So it's going to be event type. And we're going to receive the event types from how did we call that? Event type. And so this is going to be this dot get node parameter.
Yeah, I think it would be a good idea if we check what it's returning because even if we select multiple types, is it still returning an array or is it just returning a string?
Good point. We got this event type. This dot get node parameters event type. Right. And then for now we'll keep returning this. And then here we'll do something very similar. We are going to call our API. to this dot helper dot endpoint headers. Perfect. And I guess there's a method is going to be put. There's going to be some data, and it's going to be that body.
Perfect. We also might want to call the API key parameter.
Yep. And so what I see that's happening here, you generate this webhook ID by giving an n8 prefix, so we can make a difference between all those. Okay, so let's call this. It's gonna fail because event type is
not there.
Do I need to restart?
Yeah, because we made a change to the parameter, the type of the parameter.
All right, we're getting closer. And so I'm here. I go back here, I refresh, and I'll get the new API key. Hasn't changed yet. Okay, I go back here. Aha. Oh.
No, okay. My bad. Let me quickly check. It should be actually multi options and not options. Yeah. And not collections.
Okay. Multi option?
Yeah.
Multi underscore option or multi?
No, camel case.
Multi option.
Yeah. Let me quickly double check this. Yeah.
All right. We're restarting.
So most of the time, I take a lot of inspiration from other nodes that either the team has developed or a contributor has developed, and then play around with the code a bit and then make changes to that.
Perfect. Yeah, this is the.
No. What is happening?
What?
Okay. Did we change the default parameter? Because
no.
Right. So this is expecting a string while it should be an array.
Where were we? Here. Yes. Okay.
Yeah. Now let's try this. Now instead of changing, instead of running the watch command, let's just try to run the start command again and see if it works.
Okay.
But we don't have the watch command running.
No. You want me to keep? Okay.
Yeah. Keep it going.
Keep the okay.
And now we can have the start command for the tunnel.
Oh. All right. So watch is running. I will run the start. I refresh this now. I refresh this. I open this. Okay, now can I?
No.
All right, so we're fighting with configurations and
it's multi options event type. The default should be an empty array.
Seems to be the. Is it the only one that has this multi options?
Let me quickly take a look at the other node.
Type multi options default.
Yeah. And then we have an options.
Default, value. Kill everything. I saved, right? I saved what I started. Okay, I start the tunnel.
Let's hope it now renders correctly.
Yeah, let's hope it was no.
No?
Just me making some mistakes.
Hmm.
Okay, but at least okay, we can see what it's going to be returned as. Yes. So this is failing as expected. URL this type is missing. Yeah, I think it returns just a string.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, but we don't know if what it's going to be separated by. It's going to be a comma. So maybe. So where's it? So we can do this, the parameters. Split by comma, something like this. Yes. Okay.
Maybe we just want to try it with one event.
Yes. So we get this, and we get this as a string, and we're gonna do event type dot split. Right now there is nothing. There's just one.
Mm-hmm.
What's gonna happen if you do? I won't see this. If you do ha 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 like this, split by a character that it doesn't find, what does it do? It returns it. Okay, so it's perfect. It's gonna make an error. What was the other thing that it was complaining about? The webhook URL. If we look at it here, URL, this field is required. So it looks like it didn't find this.
Node webhook URL. Mm-hmm.
Data. This field is required. Where does it get the get webhook URL?
The webhook URL is generated automatically. So I'm just taking a look at all the imports. Everything looks good.
Does it have to do default here?
Yeah.
It has to be default.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we'll display it and we'll check. Webhook. Well. All right, reload. Man, that's the PA key. Execute. Fell with. Okay.
Is it still
Yeah.
not able to find?
Yes, it gives us the webhook URL like this. Okay, perfect.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess it doesn't find the body. Body request. So there's probably something I'm doing wrong in this. Does it have to be? Let's check what others are doing. And whether this one options get JSON equal true. I'm looking in other
Yeah.
body endpoint method headers. No, this is it.
Yeah, it generally depends on the API.
Ah, yeah, JSON stringify here. Okay, so that's probably why. Okay, let's try this. Wow, we haven't solved that.
Yeah, we yeah.
So let's refresh. All right, so here, this call problem
Mm.
was the error this time. Bad request. Okay, bad request. But at least. Okay, well, there's something that we don't do correctly.
Okay. So we have the body which contains the URL.
I think it's on the way we send the data.
Yeah.
Maybe it's not called data. Maybe it's just body. Maybe it's body. How do you call that? Yeah, it's body. Was it body? Body. Where can I call this? Options.
Which body?
Body. Ah, you see, playing with so many different libraries to make API calls. Because I think in some others it's called data. All right, so we launch this. We refresh this. Do this here. Execute the node. And it looks like it's happier.
Perfect. I think it worked.
Yes. So the way to know this is to go back to our VideoAsk and check if there is a new webhook created. Yes.
Yeah. Perfect.
Success. Okay, so we created this webhook. All right, so how do we make this stop run?
So you can just stop it from via the inside the internet itself. But there's one last thing we also need to do is delete the webhooks. So now we're gonna stop this webhook, and because this is a test webhook, we also want to delete it so that it does not stay in there. That's where the delete function comes into place.
All right, so node, we get this, we get the webhook ID, and this is where we're gonna call the API again. And so we check on our API doc how we delete the webhook, and it's just delete. So delete nobody built on this. Right, and we should be able to delete it, right?
Yeah. But we didn't add the API key parameter, did we?
You're right.
Oh, yeah.
Good point. So API key. All right, so how are we going to test that this delete works? We go here.
So if you, yeah.
Actually, I need to get the one thing at a time. I'll get my API key from here.
Smart.
Up. All right. Copy here. Beam. Execute. So that should create a new webhook.
Yeah. And if you close this and then if you stop it, you will see that webhook got deleted.
All right, so let's check that. No, wrong place here. webhooks. So is that the right instance? Yeah. Yes, XC, whatever. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now if we do stop
Nice.
and we refresh this, yes, it has deleted.
Perfect.
Okay, so what we managed to do so far on our trigger node, and I think we have about like 10 minutes
Mm-hmm.
more, is we create a trigger node so you can launch a workflow from VideoAsk. But we only built so far the things for the setup. So we check if there is already a webhook connected to this form for the specific node and for the specific event.
All right. What do you want to do next? Because we have the basic node ready. Do you want to try and create a workflow? Let's see if we can do it in 10 minutes, maybe.
Yeah, so now that, all right, so I want this to be the trigger, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And I need to, to do something that happens after. What do we want to do?
Do we probably want to do some sentiment analysis
Yes.
on the feedback?
What was it?
Comprehend, yeah.
Okay. So I need to create new credentials, and I need to do something where we're not going to see what I'm doing for a second.
I like this.
And you shared that credential somewhere. Here. All right, so I'm doing some stuff. I'm putting keys and secret in some different places that you don't need to know about. But AWS Comprehend is a way to get sentiment analysis, right? Okay.
Yeah, so it's kind of a natural language processing service by AWS. So you can do a lot of stuff. Sentiment analysis is one of them.
Okay. So detect sentiment. Okay, in English. And then here, I need to make this.
Mm-hmm. But before that, we want some data to come into the node so that we
Yeah.
can get it from the previous node.
Okay.
So
So this is where we're going to need the transcribed. Okay, so you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to keep this an option instead of multi-options.
mhm. And we need to change that to string. Yeah.
So again, transcribe, this is what we get when we process the response and we transcribe the audio into text. Okay, so now if I how did I save? I'll save this. Now if
Well,
I refresh,
did you restart n8n?
did I? Yeah, it worked.
Yeah, perfect.
Okay, so now my question is, I have everything ready. Copy code. I'll make sure I have the latest API key here. And so now I can run this workflow. So it's going to wait to see if there's things coming from VideoAsk and then send it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay, so execute workflow. And so what I can do now is I'm going to insert to my own self via video. Get ready. All right. Hi, this is Nicholas, and I'm very happy about your product. I love it so much. Thank you for building it. All right, so this should give us a pretty easy thing to analyze in terms of sentiment, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll go back to my workflow, and we're Do I see?
How much time does VideoAsk take to transcribe?
A couple of seconds, really.
Okay.
So we
We
can
should
look
take a look
here in
at
the
this.
webhooks. We can look at this instance, and we can look at the deliveries.
Okay, so no
Oh,
delivery was made.
and yeah, response transcribed. Okay, view deliveries.
Yeah, I think the workflow execution was successful. Let's see.
Ah, okay, perfect. So how do I debug this? What
If
do I
you
see?
double click it.
Mhm.
Ah, okay. So what we did was we got everything working, but we didn't tell n8n to render out the output.
Okay. Okay. It's okay. It's okay. We'll do that now. And I guess this is the part that we're missing in this webhook function, right?
Yeah.
No. So what is it supposed to do here?
So it should get the data. So once the webhook runs, it should capture the data. So this would be basically making.
I will look at the Typeform then.
Okay. Yeah, it should get from the webhook response data type, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah, right now I don't need to do a lot of fancy stuff. I just want to dump the answers. I don't. Yeah, body data. Where was body data? Body data. Body data. Body data. Body data. Here. Body data equal get body data. Is that get body data, and I can just say return the whole thing, right? So that's going to return the JSON.
Yeah, that should do it.
So we restart this. That will give us a new URL. And we restart this. And let's make sure.
Let's try sending a test data for now and see if it's displaying our output.
That's true. That's true. That's true. So let me change this. Okay, so we execute the workflow. And then we go here. We check. So I'll go here. I'll go here. And then we check deliveries. Nothing. Test response. Oh no. Okay, I have to send an actual test response. But I can say I can put text.
But with the text, since we are listening for transcribe, will it spell trigger?
You got me. You got me. You got me. You're right. Okay, so let's make sure. Hi, I'm a happy customer and I love your product. If all the customers were like this, that would be easy. So let's check. Let's check. So we wait. We wait. What do we wait for?
Perfect. Okay.
I
All
see.
right.
Okay. 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 So we can see, so this is where you debug what you have received. This is what we get from the VideoAsk webhook. Actually, we can check. Yeah, so that was the thing that we sent via text, not the one that we
Perfect.
sent. Yeah. Okay, so insert. Yeah, so it's input text, and I don't think it should be input text when we get to this. Right, so let's go connect to apps, webhooks. Oh,
Yeah.
it's
So
normal that it deletes it.
yeah, because it's a test URL, so every time it completes the execution, it's going to delete it.
Okay. All right. Okay, so we're gonna make it what I wanted here. What I want here. Yeah, okay. Here. This is an example of what we want. And so it's going to be on answer.transcription. This is where we're going to get the text.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to be on, yeah. So we go to the workflow. We see this. We see there is, so there's contact, answers, first answer, because there's only one question. And then on this first answer, we're going to look for transcription.
Right.
Okay, so here I'm gonna comprehend.
If you can click, you can directly click on the text box. Yeah.
Okay. Nodes, VideoAsk trigger, output
data, JSON,
contact, answers, first answer, item 0, and it's not gonna be here, but I can do.
But right now, let's just for experiment to run it for the input text.
Yes. Input text. Okay. Now I close this and I do execute. Positive sentiment. No shit, really.
Well, we got happy customers.
Okay, and so this was the test with the with this. Okay, so now we want to do it with
transcript.
What was called question transcription. Yeah, transcription. So this is probably going to complain because it doesn't exist. If we execute the workflow, this is going to create a new webhook. Okay, perfect. And now I can answer to my own VideoAsk. I'll record a video. I'm not happy. This is the worst experience ever. Please give my money back. So this time I have a really strong bad sentiment. So we are waiting for the deliveries on this. It takes a couple of seconds to transcribe. Okay.
To send some data. Okay.
Bad request. What?
No worries. I think it could not find the transcription.
So let's make sure it was answers. Thumbnail.
Okay. So its transcription status over there is pending. But no, it's completed as well.
You see why? You see why? Because we were not on response transcript. Damn it. Okay. Now we can do this again. All right. So here the issue was like we were not on the right event type. So we were listening just for the response instead of waiting for the response to transcribe. Okay. And then we'll be done with this. I'm super frustrated. I'm not happy. This is the bad experience. This is the worst time of my life. I'm getting frustrated by code, that's for sure. Okay, so same thing here. Now it has created a new webhook, which is on there, waiting for the deliveries. I'm surprised it takes that long.
Okay, it's still waiting. Let's see.
I like that the icon changes on the page. You wait. All right. We have an answer. Negative.
No.
What a surprise!
We got a unhappy customer.
Unhappy customer. Oh, you see the text here. I'm super frustrated. I'm not happy. Oh man, it understood my French accent. This is amazing. Okay, so I think we completed what we wanted to achieve in terms of building a trigger node for VideoAsk. There is still a long way to go to make this very useful for others to use. If we list the things that we need to improve, Before that, now that you have this trigger node, you can use it in your workflows, like we did with the sentiment analysis. But if we wanted to improve it, right now it's only on test environment, right?
Right.
So the webhook gets deleted every time it's not used anymore. So it only lives for one execution of the workflow.
Exactly. If you want to keep it on, you will have to save the workflow and then toggle the active button on the top to true.
Let's just show this. So I will just save the workflow, turn into active here, and that makes the workflow stays forever.
Yeah. Unless you close n8n.
Yes, because we're still on localhost.
Yeah.
Okay. So that would be the first step where you turn this, and now the workflow leaves and will stay. Now the next step is to deploy this on your own server.
Yeah.
So it's not localhost, and it doesn't depend on like closing n8n. So it takes for a longer time. And then in terms of the experience, right now we have things that are hard coded, like the form ID or the API key. And so the next part here will be adding credentials, so we can load the list of all your forms directly, and you don't have to pick. And you don't have to put the API key here. We'll take care of getting the credentials and updating those things.
Exactly.
Okay. Yes, and then once we've done this, we're happy with our thing. Then that makes a pull request in the main project, and then eventually people can start using it, like pulling it and start using it in their own instances, right?
Yeah. Or we can still send in a pull request, and other people can, edit the node on the top of this.
Yes, and add more stuff. Yeah, you're right. And then for now, it's only a trigger node. But if we want to make a regular node that could be used inside of workflows, not as the start of a workflow, but inside of workflows, then we can map it to other API endpoints and do all the different things.
Exactly.
Awesome. Thank you for guiding me through this. We had little issue in understanding how the API was returning stuff and how we can iterate over those things. But I think we overcome it. We'll update you all on this thing, because now we want to release it and we want to add all these cool features that we're mentioning. Anything you wanna say? Anything you wanna add?
Well, I am really excited to see what the community builds with the VideoAsk node, because there are a lot of possibilities. Like we saw just now, right? So we get feedback from our customers, and maybe we create a banner and share it on the social media automatically if it's positive. If it's negative, we share it directly with the team so that they know, okay, this is the problem that we have, and we should work on that.
Exactly. So yeah, if you start thinking about workflows, there's so many things you can do. If you do a support ticket like this, that would be super helpful. Yeah. So where do we find you if you want to know more about n8, n8n, about you? What are your social stuff?
Well, right. So if you want to know anything about n8n, or if you have any questions on n8n, we have a very active community. So you can reach out to us on our community forum. That's community.n8n.io. And I am pretty active on Twitter. So you can always just hop on and send me a message on Twitter. You can already see my handler somewhere around here.
Yes. Awesome. So I'll put the link here, community.n8n.io, if you want to check it out. And if you want to follow Harshil on Twitter, I'll try to type this fast. Make it big. Him here. Awesome. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you for guiding me through this. This was our first episode of season 2. There are more coming, so stay tuned. Make sure that you subscribe. Make sure you follow us so you get notified for the next one. And we'll see you in 2 weeks, I think. Thanks again, Harshil. Have a good night. Enjoy. Bye-bye.
You too. Have a nice day. Bye.